The willing slave. In the red pill manosphere space, they call men who simply work just to get treats from women a workhorse. Um, the willing slave is the person who, when the cage opens, after a while, they don't run. They're that cage bird that just sits there and like, wait, this is great. Just feed me, right? um, Now, generally speaking, conditioning your partner and conditioning people to do things for you is not necessarily bad. We condition each other all the time. We teach other people to how to teach us. We we greet people. We are taught by other people how to treat them, and vice versa, et cetera, et cetera. So the issue with it is that if you're being exploited on the other side and you're not getting as much value on the other side, you're not getting as much value as the other person is, and I think that's where the problem comes. Many men are willing slaves, um, and these men, uh, many times, they don't really think it through because most men are willing slaves, and they will commit themselves to drudgery just for the smallest things, the smallest hint of a reward, if you can call it that. Now, the carrot on the stick, just like in a thumbnail, is intimacy. It's attention from the prospective woman or from the boss or from, I don't know, maybe a colleague that they look up to. I can remember I was working at a job and there was a guy there who a lot of the employees looked up to, and I could kind of see some of the employees kind of. It's a natural thing that humans do when they see someone they perceive as competent, and they see that person is higher up than themselves. Because we're very hierarchical in terms of how we view each other. We view, especially the men, they view each other in hierarchies. But I saw this guy. He was so uh, um, particular with how he was doing things based off of how he would be perceived off of by his superior, which was interesting. And I was watching this like, wow, that's a strong mechanism in the human condition. Um, One of the things that makes men willing slaves or simps is the modern word that's used. Um, that comes, interestingly enough, I would argue it comes out of necessity. Uh, Men are starved of attention and affection and things like that, so they uh, they kind of degrade themselves. It's kind of messed up, but they actually degrade themselves um, by lowering themselves beneath the woman willingly, because they see this as a necessary evil in order to get access to intimacy and get access to attention. So, really, the man becomes a willing slave and a simp by sacrificing his moral compass. He becomes, uh, it's essentially the same. Simps are essentially the same as like culturated prostitutes, like women who use OnlyFans. She's sacrificing her self respect in order to get money from men. And simps are kind of the same on the other side. They're sacrificing their self respect in order to get either access to, the box or affection, love, things like that, attention from the woman. The willing slave archetype is something that in the modern world, there are a few men who are trying to fight against this paradigm and against this scarcity mindset. It happens. Simps are. You see more simps when the opportunity for intimacy from the opposite sex becomes more scarce, because the males use this as an adaptive strategy in order to get access to the woman. But interestingly enough, this method is not very effective. And I guess you have a small group of men trying to share that with the larger group of men that is not effective, and it won't get them what they want. Um, I'd imagine this strategy is very old and goes. It's much older than we could imagine. Uh, there are probably moments in time where women were being shared by the top 10, 15% of men, and then the men beneath were simply out of luck. More barbaric times. We're kind of transitioning into that kind of paradigm because women are becoming more and more selective as a result of the cultural and economic changes. So we're going to see more willing slaves. We're going to see more simps. We're going to see more men getting married in order to gain access to affection and intimacy, constant affection. But this won't be because 100% because they love the woman. This will be partly because they want steady affection and steady intimacy. And they don't want to go months and months and months and months and months and practically years before they'll actually get a chance to get that again. Uh, I guess I should have thrown that out. Uh, Men aren't necessarily 100% in love with with the women they're with. Part of it is a bargaining deal. They don't want to. They kind of do it out of necessity to a certain degree. The necessity is, well, if I don't commit myself to this woman, it could be months and months and months to years before I will be able to gain access to this thing that I need from other women, right? Um, that has to that factors into it a bit, which I guess it kind of proves that men don't 100% love women unconditionally. There is some condition to it, and there also are some aspects of it that are um, archaic. But yeah, the willing slave.